Football is awesome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Friday Night Roots. My name is Justin. Do me a huge favor before we jump into the video. Like the video if you can. Share it with any of your friends if you're willing. And subscribe if you're willing. Appreciate all the love I can get. Let's jump into it. Elephant in the room. I know I've been gone. The last 2 days, and before then I was uploading a video every day. Two reasons. I've been traveling a ton for work, so I just got back from traveling for work, and when I was traveling for work, I had a couple really long late days that you get back to the hotel room at 8-9 o'clock, and I was just beat. I was just super tired and didn't have the energy. And not only that, it's not that I was ignoring any NFL news whatsoever. The second reason is there really hasn't been that much going on. All the coaching hires have kind of settled down. Everybody seems to kind of know what they're doing, what their plan is. So today's video, I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of the coaching hires. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Liam Cohen joining the Jags, and then we're also going to talk about Eberflus joining the Cowboys as a defensive coordinator. I still want to do a video. Maybe I'll do it. That'll be tomorrow's video. I want to do a video on Aaron Glenn joining the Jets and his introductory press conference. My thoughts on it. I haven't watched it yet, but I'll watch it. Just thoughts on that, and whether or not I think I've already kind of touched on it a little bit, but I haven't revisited it, checked his press conference, kind of got the feel, because people like Liam Cohen to start, they kind of have like this opening. Liam Cohen, who else? Nick Sirianni. They had these like terrible first press days, and it was just, I don't know, it created all this intrigue of like, is this guy gonna suck? Is he gonna be good? He kind of comes off weird. I don't know. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today, and as always, before we do, let's talk some ball. Liam Cohen to the Jags. I'll be honest, I had to do a lot of research on this guy. I didn't know too much about him until recently. I had to do a lot of research. I've got some notes here that I'm going to look at. First impression, training under Sean McVay, the guy's got a good rap sheet at that. Granted, he's at a lot of one-time places, but he's got a rap sheet. It's a good one. I mean, it seemed like he's the kind of guy that probably went from making a couple $100,000 a few years ago to probably 10, 13, 14 million a year now as a head coach of the, Jacksonville Jaguars. So it'll be interesting to see. I think he is a creative offensive mind. I know I was watching McAfee. They talked about how Baker and Evans and they all really respected this guy, and he wins a locker room. And something I did notice also about his resume is because he traveled and has been at so many different organizations, bunch of colleges, and I'll kind of cover that towards the end of talking about him. I'll cover where he's been, but he's been to colleges and then back to the previous org. So at least people are welcoming him back. I mean, it'd be more concerning if he left after 1 year at every place and didn't go back. That means people must like him if he's able to return to the previous organization he was just at. He jumps around a lot, but in the NFL, in college, that's not uncommon for coaches, especially ones that are really trying to kind of weasel their way up and get to a top spot, or get to a top coaching job. So not surprised there. A lot of coaches have resumes like that. So anyway, as you all know, he was hired as the new head coach. So, after what seems to be with the Jags, and I talked about Shad Khan being a bad owner in one of my videos, but seemed to be one of the most chaotic hiring process of any of these groups in the NFL as of late. He was initially set to stay as the Bucs OC, and I think the Bucs even had a deal. I think it was a verbal agreement, to make him the highest paid offensive coordinator in football. The next day they were looking for him. Hey, we want to get you here. Come sign these papers. And nobody could get a hold of him or his agent. But little did they know he was in Jacksonville doing an in-person, just, getting ready to accept a new deal. They had no idea. And then he called and let them know, hey, I'm done. Just to kind of cover it, Shad Khan opened a press conference, basically on his thoughts. He said, he's our guy and we got him. He also noted his more hands-on approach in this hiring process compared to past coaching searches. So maybe that's a good thing. I don't love Khan, just the way the Jaguars organization is ran. I know Khan's son's involved in the front office. I don't necessarily hate that. Like if I was an owner, sure, I'd probably want my family involved. I don't know if I'd put my family in a direct football role unless they really were knowledgeable on football. You don't want to get too close to nepotism at that point, right? So don't love the franchise, don't hate the franchise, but the franchise in general as of late has been a complete joke, something that needs to be turned around. And we already know this, but, Khan fired, Trent Balk, after Cohen's decision to stay in Tampa, and then Cohen said Balk's right, Cohen did say that Balk's departure didn't affect his decision. That was kind of already, didn't matter if Cohen was there or not, he was going to go. So I think Cohen, I think his philosophy is a little different than most. He did say he's going to call the plays himself. Obviously he needs to focus on developing QB Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars do have I think Trevor was the number 1 pick in 2021. So just kind of getting Trevor's feet underneath him. They just paid him a shit ton of money, which I also hated that the Jaguars did. I don't know why Trevor deserved, I think what did he get? 55 even a year? I don't know. It's just like, I know the raw talent's there. He just hasn't shown us anything. It just hasn't shown. I mean, Lamar got fully guaranteed. He's only won 2 or 3 playoff games. I mean, these contracts are getting absurd, but I digress. I'm not in the NFL. So anyway, Cohen's background, obviously he has a shorter NFL, but a huge resume nonetheless. Prominence. He really rose to prominence in his stint with the Bucs. Just because of how well they've operated with all the injuries and Baker, having those off games. I just think he did a lot with some pieces who you would kind of be surprised about. I think it could be very easy for that Bucs team to suck without the proper coaching, and I think he really was able to keep them relevant. And then focusing on Trevor Lawrence, I think in his initial press conference, he emphasized his focus on Lawrence's development, and I think him and Khan believe that he's the right person to lead the Jags, and so do I. I think Trevor Lawrence is outstanding. He had an outstanding one of the best probably college careers ever. And I think he's capable. I think you need to get him with the right coach. So we'll see. I think that Khan also did show a lot of confidence. I think he interviewed 10 candidates, and he's confident Cohen's the right choice. So once again, dysfunctional franchises do dysfunctional things, and I'm not totally sure that this is also the most functional choice. But what do I know? I don't know. So anyway, I wanted to kind of touch on his resume the last few years. I got that pulled up in front of me right here. So he was an offensive coordinator for the Bucs in 24. 22 he was at LA. 21 he was with Kentucky Wildcats. 20 he was with the Rams. 19 he was with the Rams. 18 he was with the Rams. And then he started with the Rams as an assistant wide receivers coach, the assistant quarterbacks coach, and the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Kentucky, and then offensive coordinator. Excuse me, long day. And then on top of it, that's just kind of his recent NFL stint. Obviously, before 2018, he was at the University of Maine, he was at UMass, he was at University of Rhode Island, and also Brown. Kind of all in assistant coaching roles. But so either way, like I said, he's had a lot of coaching experience under a lot of great coaches. Just kind of vast and quick to leave. But anyway, based on he seems like a cool guy. I think obviously the Jags social media department did him absolutely nothing. I mean, they kind of made him look like a dick, kind of made him look like an idiot, kind of made him look like, oh man, this guy's gonna suck. But I don't think that's how it'll go. I think he really is better than what the media is portraying him as. I think he's better than this goofy kind of front that he has. He kind of has that Mike McDaniel from the Dolphins kind of a loose bubbly personality when it comes to media and being that guy. And I think when he got his office, he was like, man, what did he say? He said something like, man, wait till my mom sees this. He's got that goofy, dare I say, Barstool Sports attitude, if you will, but seems like a good guy, good football coach. And can he be the guy to fix the Jags? I'm not sure. The Jags have tried to fix themselves a lot, even with some really good coaches. The Jags have had some good coaches. But they just seem to have never been able to put the pieces together. So will he be able to do that for them? That'll be interesting to see. All right, let's move on. Eberflus to the Cowboys. Eberflus, not my fucking favorite of all time. I don't think he's as bad as everyone says he is, but everyone talked pretty highly of him, even till recently. I just don't see it, and I just think the Cowboys are turning into one of the most dysfunctional franchises. That's easy for me to say as a Niners fan, but the Cowboys are slowly slipping, and with the Commanders coming up, and the Eagles are always competitive. Man, the Cowboys are really they're lucky the Giants suck, because they're really close to just becoming irrelevant. And I would never, and I know Eberflus is a defensive coach, and that defense was humming last year in Chicago, but this year it wasn't humming. So I'm really surprised with the choice. I can barely even say the head coach's first name, but that's why I haven't made a video on him. I don't even know what to talk. I don't even know who the guy is. And that's on me. Like, obviously, if I'm going to do this channel, I should probably learn, and I'll do some research on the guy. But man, I don't know who he is. I mean, I've heard of him, but I don't know anything about his past, if he's good or not. I probably never paid attention to who he was. So anyway, as we already know, he was hired as the DC. He just takes over as DC after a 14-32 record and fired in 2023 for Ben Johnson of the Lions. So we all know how that season went. Prior to his stint with the Bears, though, Eberflus did have a strong run as the Indianapolis Colts defensive coordinator for 18-21. I mean, he improved their defense all the way back to a top 10 ranking in scoring and yards. So, and even in the Bears last year, I know the man could coach defense. Do the Cowboys have the weapons? Are they going to pay Micah to begin with? Probably fucking not. And that's where we'll see if he can put a squad together, right? He does have a Cowboys coaching background. He previously worked with the Cowboys under Jason Garrett for 7 years, coaching linebackers, and then he also served as the defensive pass game coordinator too for the Cowboys. So knows the building, knows Jerry, and you know how Jerry is with all that shit. So he has, they have had defensive challenges though. Their defense finished 28th in yards, 31st in points per game in 2024. Not only struggling to injuries, but DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, DeMarvion Overshown. So many injuries this year. So I'm not going to hold the Cowboys too high of a standard, but I just think ever since they paid Dak and they paid CeeDee, man, just filling that roster with the kind of money they're pumping out is just going to be really hard. And then, interestingly enough, Nick Sorensen from the 49ers was hired as the special teams coordinator. So, he replaces John Fassel, having worked with Schottenheimer in Seattle and Jacksonville. So Sorensen comes in, and he's going to be a Cowboy, which bittersweet for me as a Niners fan, but our special teams was so fucking bad this year that anybody who believes in Jake Moody's gone. We all know it. So good for, obviously I'm super happy for Nick Sorensen. I mean, guy's still a football coach. He loves the game, and I'm glad he's there. Schottenheimer is the new head coach. Schottenheimer. Yeah, Schottenheimer. He's the new head coach. He's staying in Dallas during this, Senior Bowl to finalize his coaching staff. But on the campaign trail now, right? Got to get players in there. I'm sure all these new coaches, all these new GMs are in recruit mode at the moment. They're all just watching film now. They're going back and watching all these college games, watching all these players, attending all these pro days, conducting all these interviews with players. And Eberflus has got a wicked rap sheet. I don't need to go into it too much, but he coached at Cleveland from like 2009 to 2010. Then he coached Dallas forever, like from 10 to 17, and then the Colts 18-19. So, I'm not going to take it away from the guy. Eberflus has got a rap sheet, and he's got a good, when it comes to statistics alone, yeesh. Eberflus has done an excellent job. He's stats speak for themselves. He's a good defensive coordinator. So how that translate over to the Cowboys, I'm not quite sure. I don't think he'll be as good as Dan Quinn. I think Dan Quinn is a art of war master when it comes to playing defense. So I just think it really comes down to the Cowboys and how functional they are working under Jerry and this weird Cowboys phase that they're in right now. I don't know. I don't love the hire, but I think Eberflus may have it. It's so hard to tell with this stuff. It's like, you could bet on this guy to suck, and 50-50 odds are that he sucks or that he's good. I mean, that's how it is. Same thing with Liam Cohen. I think he's kind of got that. If he learned under McVay, and he can't be that stupid, right? McVay doesn't hire just anybody. So I just don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, and then like I said, following this video, I'd like to do a one on Aaron Glenn, and I'll just kind of keep up to date as best I can. I mean, some days I do think, like, if there's not a lot of news, I do kind of have to come up with something to talk about, maybe get a creative idea in here, my thoughts, right? So yeah, I'll do my best to, continue to upload these videos. I'll be back every day now for now, right? Sometimes those weeks when I travel just gets real busy. So as always, I appreciate you guys. Do me a huge favor. Like the video if you can. Share it with your friends and subscribe. I appreciate all the love. As always, let's talk some football. Love you.